Hey everyone, today I want to give you the first tour of my pond this year, the spring tour. 10 years ago I dug a hole in my yard, I tossed a pond liner inside of it and filled it with about 1,000 gallons of water. Each year that followed, the pond aged, evolved, and matured into a natural ecosystem. This season I decided to make some major changes to the pond in efforts to make the pond a more balanced ecosystem. For years I kept koi as the main attraction to the pond. Koi are amazing fish, but they have one flaw. I'll get to that later. First, let's get a full view of the pond. One of my goals this season is to attract more beneficial insects to the pond. I planted multiple flowering plants around the pond to attract bees and butterflies. I also have some plants that get taller for dragonflies to perch on. I have creeping Jenny created a natural carpet and creeping into the pond. My goal is to attract life to the pond. But if I'm honest, not all life is welcome. At the start of the pond season, we had a rat that created burrows all along the pond edge. He would toss piles of dirt as he excavated his caves into the pond, destroying the landscape and making my pond muddy. In retaliation, I filled all his caves with rocks, and I planted thyme, which is said to be a natural repellent against rodents. This season my pond also attracted snakes. I'm not a huge fan of snakes, but I believe that these snakes are northern brown snakes, and they don't get too big and they're said to be fairly docile. So far I spotted 3 at once sunbathing at the pond edge. I read that they mainly eat insects, but this year I just so happened to stock my pond with bite-sized rosy minnows, so to prevent any problems I plan to add some natural snake repellents around the pond as well. My favorite feature in the pond is the waterfall. Throughout the years I tried several different designs, but this one by far is my favorite. The water flow looks very natural, and it's dressed with a beautiful green algae along with some moss. I have stringy stonecrop growing nicely within the rocks, along with some plants that came on their own. The waterfall also has a nice water flow sound. Now I can't play the natural sound throughout the video because I do live in the outskirts of a city and the air is filled with all different kinds of sounds like lawnmowers and horns, radios, and even airplanes. There's also a 20-gallon bog connected to the pond. The bog uses a solar pump. It sends water from the pond up into the bog. The plants in the bog help remove excess nutrients from the pond, and then the water is returned to the pond through a PVC, which is hidden within this log. The plants in the bog include creeping Jenny, which is just dominating. We also have horsetail rush, which is a nice taller plant which is great for dragonflies. And then I recently planted some mint, and mint is great for repelling rodents and also repelling mosquitoes. Now unfortunately I did discover that the pond has a leak, and the leak is coming from the bog. And I believe that when a rat was digging around, he dug through the bog, so now we have a leak from the bottom of the bog. So we lose about ½ inch of water from the main pond each day. Now it's not too much, so I'm taking my time, but eventually in the days to come I will have to replace the entire bog. And it will be pretty cool to get some different plants in there and to just change up the scenery a little bit. My main goal this year was to grow a lot more pond plants. Nothing establishes your ecosystem better than plants. Plants naturally remove nitrates that fish produce and also create natural nurseries for young fish. I tried to get a more unique selection of plants. I have sweet flag from last year that was about 3 feet in diameter, so this season I propagated it, and now we have a total of 3 different planters, all from that one main plant. I also bought a lot of juvenile plants, including 4-leaf clover, golden club, cardinal flower, and I'm also trying to grow these lotus plants from seeds that I bought from Amazon. Under the water, I'm trying to grow dwarf sage, and then I have a quarantine pond and I'm trying to grow dwarf cattails along with some hostas. The plants are still trying to adapt to their new home, so they're pretty insignificant now, but hopefully by summer they're settled in and you get to see how beautiful they make the pond. When that time comes, I would like to remove the lattice that I built for shade over the pond and give the plants full sun. As for the fish in the pond, I've kept koi for years. I love their size and beauty, however they're terrible with plants. My goal is to create a natural ecosystem, and the benefit of plants outweigh the benefit of koi. If I had a bigger pond, I would definitely try to sustain a planted koi pond, but with my current pond, I decided that the best choice would be to rehome them. I did rehome all of them, and I actually ended up being in a better place. They went to a pond that was about 5 times the size of my pond. Now I couldn't catch all of them. There was one black koi that I couldn't find, and this koi might actually be a koi/goldfish hybrid, and he was actually born in a pond. So I'm going to leave him in the pond because he's extremely hard to catch, but so far it seems like he's more behaved like a goldfish. He doesn't bother my plants, and so far he's just sticking with the goldfish. So I'll leave him in a pond and I'll just try to keep an eye on him. And I also ended up removing my pumpkin seed sunfish because he most likely would have preyed upon the smaller fish that I planned to add to the pond. With the koi and the sunfish gone, I was left with the one black hybrid goldfish, which was about 3 years old. I have 3 apricot goldfish, which are about 2 years old. I have 2 old Shubunkin goldfish. These fish are definitely very old. I've had them before the pond was even built, so they're over 10 years old. I have a red comet goldfish, which is about 7 years old. You guys actually named him Goldberg a couple of years ago. Now goldfish, they do great with plants, so I wanted to keep them as the main fish of the pond. So I introduced 5 more Shubunkin goldfish that were all about 1 inch. Somehow when I bought these fish, the employee at the store included 2 black moor goldfish. Now they're actually cool to see them in a pond, however they're most likely not going to be able to handle New Jersey winters, so eventually I will have to rehome them. And then I went and bought some feeder comets, and I ended up adding 3 red ones and 2 white ones, all of which were about 1 inch. I wanted to include smaller fish in the pond just for diversity and because smaller fish do a better job at eating bug larvae. So I went and I bought some rosy red minnows. I bought 20 of them and I put them into my quarantine pond. Now these fish are commonly sold as feeders and a lot of times they're kept in very poor conditions. So after quarantine, out of 20, only 12 survive. I put them in a pond and I definitely love them in a pond. They're very active and they just have a ton of energy. So eventually I will be buying more, so that hopefully I can have a school of at least 30. That's all the fish that I currently have in a pond. Eventually I would like to add 1 or 2 more species. I want to try to add some peaceful native fish to the pond, but I'm going to wait until these fish that I just added are established. I did add my turtle to the pond, but so far he's extremely shy and I haven't been able to catch him on camera. The thing I love about spring is that this is just the beginning. As we go into summer, the plants will get bigger and the fish will get healthier. I find that pond fish keeping is so different from aquarium fish keeping. With ponds, you have so little control. I can't control the light, I can't control the temperature. There are so many added nutrients to the pond that I don't really know about. All you can do is really let nature take its course. But the outcome is usually amazing.